Speaker, there are motions in front of the Immigration Committee to study the illegal border crossing crisis. This urgent situation is draining resources of the RCMP, the CBSA, provincial housing, legal aid, and healthcare services. So Canadians are confused as to why the Liberals shut down debate not once but twice on this matter. So can the chair of the Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration please update Canadians as to when this urgent matter will be debated at committee, or are the Liberals just going to keep shutting it down over and over again?
Honourable Chair.
Mr. Speaker, as the honourable member knows well, it's the committee itself which decides what studies to study and which studies they will study in the future. Presently, we're studying immigration consultants, an issue of tremendous importance, and then the House mandated us to do an Atlantic immigration study, which we will be doing throughout the rest of this session and into the fall. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Calgary-Nose Hill.
That many Canadians won't be satisfied with that answer. But, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister could be doing many things to address this issue, including closing the loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement. Instead, the Liberals have announced a whole, wait for it, $30,000 for first responders in Manitoba. For those counting, that's a whopping $609 more than they just spent on Broadway tickets for wealthy investment bankers, Mr. Speaker. So, my question simply is this. Can the Prime Minister stand up and tell Canadians why his priority is Broadway and not the border?
Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, our priority is applying Canadian law and keeping Canadians safe. In fact, crossing the border in an irregular fashion is no free ticket to Canada. Those people are apprehended. They are identified biographically and biometrically. Their information is checked against all data systems in Canada as well as internationally. If there's a danger, they are detained. They go before the IRB to hear their claims, and if their claims cannot be justified, then deportation proceedings are commenced. The law is applied as are Canadian treaties.
Honourable member for Provencher.
Mr. Speaker, as the Liberals dither, the Prime Minister has even gone so far as to dismiss the safety concerns of our border communities, calling those asking for his help fearful and closed in. This is precisely the arrogant attitude that is frustrating so many Canadians, and it's why the Prime Minister needs to actually talk to those on the front lines of this crisis. Will the Prime Minister commit right now to visiting Emerson to speak directly with the families impacted by his inaction?
Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, some weeks ago it was my privilege to visit Emerson. I had the opportunity to meet with the Reeve and the Council. I had the opportunity to meet with many of the citizens there. I noticed that members of the opposition paid a visit last week. It's interesting that a good many of the citizens of that community challenged the opposition for the kind of attitude that they were displaying on this issue. It is important to respect Canadian law. It is being enforced in every way, Mr. Speaker. It's also important to honour Canada's international obligations in the proper treatment of asylum seekers. We are applying both in a measured way.